Marcus let me work from home today. How was the party?
How's work?
Well, we got proof that this guy was faking his back injury, so pretty good.
Sound of cigarettes and femme fatales today?
This one was a fairly decent drama. I didn't really get a strong horror sense from it, except for like this bit of anticipation that you get build up through this sort of slow burn as it does build. But yeah, there's definitely some elements of, I guess, anticipation. You're just kind of, hoping for the bit more of a reveal, and then anything kind of plays out the way you imagine.
Certainly evokes Rear Window vibes in its premise, though it deviates from the well-known film by having the protagonists confront the suspect quite sooner, certainly, than it occurs in Rear Window. And what's interesting about this confrontation ultimately is that it does not lead to a necessary confession, although some could argue that it's a confession by omission. The lighting in the short film, particularly when we are in the central character's apartment, is quite distinct and evokes a kind of isolation and sense of seclusion and secrecy that I thought was really well established into the aesthetic of the short film.
I thought this one was a great thriller story, and it was a great script. I thought it was a very interesting take on finding out about a crime and then having the nerve to go and confront the perpetrator, or at least you suspect about someone and you go and find out. It was, for me, it was also very scary because it's just your neighbor right next door, and then you don't really understand and you don't really know people, which is exactly what's the scariest in this script. I thought the performances were also great.
I really like the perspective of not witnessing a murder, but hearing one, or what you think is one. And I'm having like, what would I do in that situation? Because one, how do I know that that's actually what happened? And two, if that is what happened, then what is my responsibility? What am I meant to do with this information? It's just a very like interesting situation to find yourself in. The ending of this was actually quite beautiful. Like, of course they did the right thing and they called the police, but it seems like going through that awful thing together helped bring them back together. Trauma unites people sometimes. When the batteries died and he couldn't find working ones, my heart stopped. I was like, just go knock on the wall. Just get out of there. The batteries aren't working. Just bail. Like my heart stopped. I was holding my breath, but I was also yelling at the screen. It really did a great job of building up that tension. Yeah, so this was like really original. I liked it a lot, and it made me think, like, what would I do?
I thought the bit with the batteries was really funny. I thought that worked well. And especially like stealing from the remote. I think everybody's done that at some point. I know I have, to get whatever I needed to work in the moment. Like, I know that has batteries at work, so I'm gonna go ahead and just steal those. So I thought that all of that worked really, really well together. That scene was really fun. I also really, really liked the character of Mrs. Smith. I think they left her kind of like aloof and kind of open-ended enough that you don't not believe the things that they're accusing her of. So I thought that, again, that was just like great acting and great writing.
I loved that Eavesdropping was dual-layered. There was Mr. and Mrs. Smith and their issues, and then Anthony and Kim were also facing some of the same issues as well. One huge difference was that how the woman in each relationship handled that.
Myself, having moved around to a couple apartments in my time, one of the best pastimes is catching the little snippets of the other people living in the apartment building, hearing that they're talking about, or maybe hearing a fight. So I thought it was a great premise for the piece to begin with. And it was nice because they really grounded us in the characters' reality at the beginning. I felt like I knew these characters, I knew sort of their struggle. So when it escalated to the concept of murder and had almost like a film noir vibe, especially with Mrs. Smith, and even using that name as kind of a trope, was really neat as a change in direction. Also, a great turn in the writing to make the intervention on Mrs. Smith then turn into an intervention on their own relationship, which kind of brought it full circle and gave you something at the end to really ponder.